Welcome in to the latest episode of the Betting the Pitch Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Real_G Warner, and tonight we are going through the Europa League. I know. Why am I doing this? Well, because for some reason, a lot of people show up and like to watch this thing. So that's what we're doing. Thanks to new YouTube subscribers. We're up to 208. Just going to shout it out every time because every episode we seem to get more. Love that. And tonight we're wearing a Vincenzo Grifo jersey. Unfortunately, the name's on the back and it's at the bottom, so it'd take me too much spine changing to show you exactly what it says. But you can see the probably falling off little crest right here on the chest. And I can't find my Lyon gear, and unfortunately, that's all the Europa League options I have, aside the Roma scarf in the background, which I will adjust a little bit so everyone can see it. If you are not subscribed to the podcast, Apple Podcast and on Spotify, you look for Betting the Pitch. If you want the YouTube, we're up to 208 subscribers at the Real_G Warner. Same on Instagram. And that's where you can get the reels that will discuss exactly the best bets, which we'll do end of show. Taking one from the early round of Europa League matches on Thursday, October 23rd, and then one selection from the late matches, and then smash them together in that video for the number one best bet, which we are 9-3 so far year to date. Awesome 75% start, better than the 68% last year, which would be a great year this year, of course. But it's been a good year, trying to keep that going. So let's dive in. Now you can see the Rome a little bit better if you're on Apple Podcasts on video or YouTube or wherever the heck you might be. Thank you for coming in, and I probably should make sure I'm getting in on the right audio setting, which now I'm a little bit concerned about that I didn't set that before. But I've only been podcasting for like 5 years now, so I guess I might have thought about this by now, but of course, yes, wrong mic on StreamYard. But thank you if you are here live. It should be fixed, and please shout out. Anderson Hernandez usually great at that, shouting if we went muted or something like that. But pretty much all the podcasts I check them now, and they've done fairly well, not having any blank spots. It's just you have to listen to my voice the whole time. So. In the Europa League, we'll start on Thursday, October 23rd, because there's only Thursday matches. It's really nice that there's no double Istanbul matches, that they force one to be played a day earlier, because that does screw me up or screwed me up last year. Okay, so we're back into it. Let's get into this now, and we should be ready to go in 3, 2, 1, 0, 0.1, almost there. Okay, here we go. Good. So, the first matchup we'll discuss is Feyenoord hosting Panathinaikos, which is, I'm glad I do have a Greek name, so I should be able to pronounce that, but that seemed like it was going to be a lot harder than it was. Feyenoord 1 goal favorites right now. Panathinaikos a little bit more juice, totals 2 3/4, used a little bit more to over. So Feyenoord is a Dutch club in the Holland's Eredivisie. Great crowds always, though I don't know if they've been as sharp as they have been in previous seasons. I'm not blaming the crowds. We know exactly what you're doing over there. But the squads haven't been as good, probably because Ajax got pillaged, and then you could see the rest of them as well. So a lot of talent farmed out of the Netherlands, or whatever we're supposed to call it. Seems like in Europe they call it Holland, even though I think that's probably something that doesn't. So people probably don't like that, but they probably don't like a lot. Panathinaikos were pretty disrespected, I thought, in the opener at Young Boys Bern out of Switzerland. Went there. All they did is win and dominate the whole game. And I was killing myself, kicking myself for not playing it. I do like the full goal of insurance. I think that's a lot to give. Feyenoord, certainly bigger names, but I don't know that they've been extremely good so far in this competition. And giving a full goal of insurance is too much to me. Don't really have a feel for the total. Panathinaikos, I would expect to, as 1 goal underdog, would try to keep this as low scoring as possible, but sometimes easier said than done. And I feel like good scoring teams in Europa League seem to score a little bit more than Champions League. I could be wrong on that. Next, we move to Brann hosting Rangers. Currently, Brann, quarter goal favorites with all the juice. Totals 2 3/4, juice slightly more to under. Looks like we might even see half of a goal underdog on Rangers. They were trying to force their manager out. Um, it hasn't been a great start to the year for Rangers, of course. I think Celtic was dominating in Scotland, and Rangers hadn't been off to a great start in the Europa League either. But now they are a quarter goal, soon to be half of a goal underdog to a Minnow, a team that I had to look up where they're from. I believe Brann are Norwegian. Let's see, Brann FC. They are Norwegian. There we go. They're third in the Elite Syrian. Hadn't ever pronounced that before. Probably got it wrong, but thank you to all the Norwegian subscribers. I appreciate you more than you know. I think Rangers are the only way I could look. They travel really well. They hate their manager, or I've hated him for a while, but that doesn't make me want to suddenly think that the Scottish aren't going to travel around with their kilts and stuff. So Tartan Army, or a version of it, lean to the quarter goal underdog, though I certainly want to see what the deal is. Russell Maltin. I already said that once on a podcast tonight on the Major League Baseball with Munaf Manji on the pregame.com podcast network, getting you ready for the World Series. But this is a Russell Martin version. We'll now move to Go Ahead Eagles, another Dutch Eredivisie side, but one of the bigger surprises that somehow found a way into the Europa League. Don't really think they had much with Go Ahead Eagles as a name. I mean, you think they could have thought of something better than that, but their manager, I think, got lured away by Wolfsburg, VfL Wolfsburg in the German Bundesliga. Not been impressive there to me, but somehow navigated something to get to this level. Well, now they get the visit of Aston Villa, who started the year off not able to win any matches, then went on a big winning streak into the international break. And now Aston Villa 1.25 goal favorites away from home. More juice on Go Ahead Eagles right now. Total is 3, and the juice is split there on the total. So Aston Villa, to me, I haven't trusted them to score goals for a long time now. Unai Emery's defense is really good. Go Ahead Eagles are very, very weak. So I'm going to lean to under 3 in this one rather than playing the 1.25. Certainly, it's correlated. If you see a low-scoring game here, playing an underdog and an under makes a lot of sense if you're trying to double up. I think the biggest concern is if Go Ahead Eagles are scoring goals, but I don't think it's going to happen against England Premier League, an English Premier League defense. Move next to FCSB of Bucharest. They are hosting Bologna of Serie A in Italy. Currently, Bucharest side, FCSB, they're 3/4 goal underdogs, all the juice on Bologna away. Total is 2.5, juice very heavily to under also. So Bologna have been really good this year despite balancing competitions. I think Taco Mota moved on, as with a lot of players, to Juventus and other places across Europe. Brought in Vincenzo Italiano, great name, of course, but he's been really good for them. Bologna has been really strong. Every time I've seemed to fade them, it either goes really horribly wrong or they're scoring penalties late. So I haven't really had a great rub of the green on that, if I'm using soccer terms. I think FCSB are going to defend like crazy. That's all they can expect to do against a Serie A talented side. And Bologna have been doing a pretty good job. They've got a lot of depth, which is surprising for a Europa League side. They've got pretty much a Serie A lineup and a Europa League lineup. I wonder if that changes as we go, but that's pretty good because the depth is so important in this competition, more so I think than the Champions League. You need to have better players at higher levels, but people spend for that. Europa League is usually not as spended. People don't spend as much. Clubs don't spend as much for it. But I think Bologna have done a great job of recruiting and building a very deep squad. So I'll lean to the home underdog. I'll lean to under strongest here until we get a full goal of insurance on FCSB, which is probably out there in the market if you want to pay up the juice for it. I just am pretty concerned that a Bologna 2-0 win will pay out the under and lose the side. Fenerbahce then hosts VfB Stuttgart. Currently, Fenerbahce quarter goal favorites, all the juice on Stuttgart away. Total is 3 in this one, juiced all the way to under. So Stuttgart, they've been winning matches. I don't know that they've been very impressive. They've been missing Denis Undav for sure. Nick Voltomesi, who left for Newcastle, also was a big loss. And Fenerbahce, I mean, they've played better than I expected at home so far. The Turkish giants, or Turkish clubs in general across Europe, just don't defend well enough. They have big names, but I don't think they have much defending in them. We'll see on Domenico Tedesco and how he does at this club. I don't know that I believe in it so much. He's been pretty average slash underperforming or overvalued at most places he's been. The Belgian national team, Schalke, I thought he was decent, but then things didn't go well in a lot of other places. I think it was Leipzig. He had a really short stint. I think Stuttgart, though, clearly the bigger club, or they have more history. I think. Ooh, I could probably get myself in trouble with some Turkish fans here. Let me restate this. So Stuttgart are huge in Germany. I'll leave it that way. Had struggled and got relegated down to the Zweitliga and almost happened again, if not for a late header, I want to say from Wataru Endo, who then moved to Liverpool, but kept them literally in the Bundesliga on the last match day against Köln. Yes, I had Köln that matchup. That was really difficult, and Köln eventually went down the next season. Not that one directly, but Fenerbahce probably deserve to be a favorite based on their home pitch and their crowd and how difficult it is to play in Turkey. Istanbul is great and will always be difficult to play against, essentially, because you're fighting the whole city there, it seems. With that said, Stuttgart are really talented. I think they've lost a lot, but they've kind of weathered that storm. Chris Furic was not playing a lot, who I think is a great creator. Emedin Davidovic is honestly one of the biggest warriors, and I wish that Stuttgart weren't favored as much as they are, as often as they are, because I'd love to back him because he's awesome, scores goals all the time. Even gets him ruled out because he's too strong, it seems. But he also is a Freiburg guy, I gotta say, in the past. Doesn't seem to care about that, though. He's like to celebrate against him when he scores. With all that said, I'll lean to Stuttgart getting a quarter of a goal. I mean, I don't generally expect to see goals in European matches or in any matches for that matter, but there could be some in this matchup, which would make the very expensive quarter goal underdog on the road less valuable, but I'll lean that way for now. Red Bull Salzburg then hosts Ferencváros. Currently, Salzburg a half a goal favorite. All the juice on Ferencváros of Budapest in Hungary. Totals 2 and 3/4. This one just pretty heavily to under. I think Ferencváros are. Uh, I mean, they were a very defensive side, brought in pretty famous manager, and have been more aggressive lately. Salzburg were pretty much funding or funneling all their talent to Red Bull Leipzig. Then things got a little bit weak there. And that's why Red Bull Leipzig are not playing Europe this season, I think, amongst other things. Plus, Salzburg have not really been as strong. They've kept some players longer than anyone would have expected. We saw Karim Adeyemi and, of course, Erling Haaland and all these great players leave for other big European clubs. From a Ferencváros situation or side, I think they're a little bit undervalued, overpriced. So I like that half of a goal. I think I'm more interested in under 2 and 3/4, which is not really great for the way Salzburg played, but I've not been impressed by Salzburg really in this competition yet at all. So lean to underdog and under here. I think that's pretty good. Oh, we got some people coming in here. Donna Cullen. Wagwan, Mr. Warner. I don't know what that is. Allow me to introduce myself. Oh, we have a myself, Donna Cullen, former executive director for Tottenham Hotspur and board member. I used to be the head of PR department. Well, please let me know, Donna, how I may do anything I can to move myself to Europe and get this all going. Also, Evelyn Waldron, I haven't heard from you in forever. Good to see you. I guess I finally got on here at a time where you're awake. No, just kidding. I usually do this way too late at night. Anyway, good to see you all. And Donna, anyone, if you want to talk to me a little bit more afterwards, please do so. Hopefully, you're into the game, though. I don't know if a Hotspur Tottenham like board member is probably not a good idea to be betting soccer, but here we are. Thank you for coming in, and I'll always love and appreciate the support, of course, from I don't know if we'd say fans, but just like supporters or whatever we're calling. So we'll move back to Genk hosting Real Betis. There's a Belgian side and Genk quarter goal underdogs at home with a little bit more juice. Total on this one is 3, juiced all the way to under. So Real Betis are really talented, one of the biggest clubs in all of Spain, haven't performed like it in years, but are still very talented. And while they sold Jesus Rodriguez, who's one of their best up and coming talents, to Como in Italy, which is a big surprise, they've sort of weathered the storm, though they're still waiting for Isco to come back from a freak broken leg injury that occurred at the end of, I think, practice right before the season began. Still, Real Betis, I mean, they've came from behind to win at Espanyol, which is really impressive to me on the road right before the international break. And I think they call him the abuelo, the grandfather. What is his name? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking on it right now. Anyway, the Real Betis manager, whose name will come to me in a little bit, Manuel Pellegrini, he's been very good for them and has done a great job of navigating usually the Conference League, but now is in the Europa League this season. Pretty much keeping Betis in shape to finish in European positions, but not the Champions League places, unfortunately. Road favorite makes sense. I don't know that I'll ever be backing a road favorite in my life, so I'll lean to Genk. But I don't have much feel for that, and Betis can score goals, so that's even more scary to me. Sporting Braga then hosts Crvena Zvezda, or Red Star Belgrade, if you're into the English version of the Serbian champions, I believe. Anyway, Braga, half a goal favorites right now. All the juice on Crvena Zvezda. Total is 2.5, and it's juiced more to the over. So, Braga are fairly talented Portuguese side that have pretty badly underperformed expectations across the years. I mean, made it to Champions League. We're in a group with a really bad Napoli side after they won the Scudetto, and or maybe that was before they won the Scudetto because they just got in there this year. But anyway, a couple years ago, and were really disappointing to me. I don't know that I trust Red Star Belgrade to go on the road and be competitive, though. So that's the biggest problem for me. I think I'll probably leave that one on the side. Last matchup of the early window in the UEFA Europa League before we give out a best bet for that portion and then smash together with the late comers, if you will. Olympique Lyonnais, they are 1 goal favorites right now. The FC Basel total is 3, juiced all the way to over. A lot of juice on Basel getting full goal of insurance. So, Lyon, I was going to wear a practice kit or something like that on this episode if I could find that shirt. Somebody has it. Holler. I don't think you do, Evelyn, but thank you for coming in again. I think Lyon are starting to look like the club that we expected them to be, despite this like financial ramifications, not being able to sign anybody, having to sell everybody. Somehow they still brought in Dominic Greif from Mallorca in a bigger league in Spain. Can't explain that one, but. Basel have not looked that competitive to me so far. I've watched them against Stuttgart and against Freiburg in this competition, so I will pass on that one as well. So we will go to the ultimate best bet portion of the show. We'll move to what will end up getting compared positively or negatively against what we cover in the late portion of this show. And I think at this point, I mean, there's plenty of value out there. I think Panathinaikos is a one goal underdog on the road at Feyenoord. It's going to be a really tough place to play. But I think the full goal of insurance is just too much. Now we'll start on the late window with Lille hosting PAOK of Thessaloniki in Greece, Lille of France in Ligue 1. Currently, Lille three-quarter goal favorites. All the juice totals 2.5, juice all the way to over. So Lille are extremely talented, sold a lot. Were great in Champions League last year to start the year, and then kind of faded, and then that's I think why a lot of their players left. But brought in Olivier Giroud, who's one of the best strikers in the world still at his age, because it really doesn't matter. He's not. It's not about him being fast, it's about his head, how tall he is, et cetera, et cetera. PAOK have been pretty disappointing in this competition so far. They've been, I think, doing fairly well in Greece, but not better in this competition. So I don't know that I want to play them going into Lille. They like to shoot these like fiery type of things, not fireworks necessarily, but like these blades of not blades, bursts of fire. No, firefly looking things. I don't know. Do that a lot. It's really, really, really disappointing if you're on the other side and you keep seeing that go off over and over again with their red nets. Don't like that either if you're betting the other side. I think I'll skip this one and move to Celta de Vigo hosting Nice. So two big clubs from big leagues I do cover on the weekend podcast, the Betting Pitch podcast. And if you might be watching this live on the Betting Pitch Podcast Network or a recorded version on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, Celta Vigo are three-quarter goal favorites. Although juice right now is on Nice pretty much. Totals 2 3/4, juice more to the under. Celta Vigo have I think weathered the storm at a really poor start to the season, balancing Europa League, which they haven't been in so long, and really have been fighting relegation for a long time. Plus, aren't playing their star talisman Iago Aspas from the start too much. He's also 36 or 37 years old, and God forbid how sore he is every morning. I don't think I'm that sore myself, but I'm not playing football professionally in a very, very vicious league unless you're in the penalty box. Then any sort of breath the wrong direction can lead it to a penalty. Till this season, it seemed. Wondered if that's why things have turned up in my soccer performance so far betting this season in Spain. But regardless, Nice have had a really even rougher start to the year, just losing left and right. Celta Vigo just struggling to win. I think Nice are getting too much here, so I'll lean to the three-quarter of a goal underdog. Would love to get a full goal of insurance. I don't think we'll get that. I'll also lean to under 2 3/4. I just don't expect Celta Vigo to score many goals. I think they can defend Nice, but I do think that Nice can break through, potentially get a road 1-1 draw or something like that, which would pay the under and the underdog. Maccabi Tel Aviv then hosts Michelin, Michelin of Denmark, Maccabi Tel Aviv of Israel, but they're not playing any league games there, at least for the foreseeable future. Tel Aviv, Maccabi Tel Aviv, half a goal underdogs in some far away land, I believe in Czechia or in Budapest or something like that, where probably the whole crowd is rooting for UEFA to kick Israel out based on the war crimes they've been committing compared to Russia and how they haven't been playing in Europa League or Champions League for a long time now. I was hoping to get Michelin as a dog, but that was not realistic. I think they've been impressive, so I got nothing really to do with this matchup. Maybe under 2 3/4, but I don't think I want that either. Roma then hosts Victoria Plzeň, which I do have Roma over the shoulder. Roma 1.5 goal favorite, juice is split both ways. Total is 3, juice all the way to over. And Victoria Plzeň of the Pilsner Urquell, I think is brewed there. If you know the beer, if you're a beer drinker or just have ever came across it and were like, oh, what does Czech beer taste like? Anyway, Victoria Plzeň are going to go to Roma and try to kill this game from the first second. I think the total is really large at 3 minus 120 right now, bet online. I'd love to get 3 1/4. I don't want to play FCVB on the side, but I do like under 3 and 3 1/4 when it comes. Celtic then hosts Sturm Graz, currently Celtic, 1 goal favorites, all the juice on the home team. Total is 2 3/4, juice all the way to over. Sturm Graz of Austria, I think Eastern Austria, if I'm not mistaken. Celtic have been playing well in Europe, or excuse me, well in Scotland, have been making Rangers feel all the pain and hating their manager, et cetera, et cetera. Sturm Graz have been, I guess their former manager moved to Hoffenheim in the German Bundesliga has been improving. So not really with home results, but I guess that's another story. I don't think I want much to do this one either. Moving next to Young Boys Bern, they are hosting Ludogorets of Bulgaria. Young Boys Bern of Switzerland, already mentioned on this podcast. Currently, Young Boys half a goal favorite with all the juice totals 2.5 juice, almost all the way to over. So Ludogorets, they are going to try to keep this as low scoring as possible. They tried really hard against Real Betis in the last round, but got pretty much dominated. I don't think Young Boys are this good. I don't think Ludogorets are great either. So I'll lean to under 2.5, a low scoring game in that one. Malmo then hosts Dinamo Zagreb. Currently, Malmo, the Swedish squad, they are quarter goal underdogs at home with all the juice. Totals 2.5, juiced all the way to under. So Dinamo Zagreb have looked great in this competition. Malmo are a smaller club, but they do have some famous names. Pontus Jansson, formerly of Brentford and of Leeds, maybe in English Premier League and Championship and things. He's kind of leading that team. Malmo have been really talented. Ahmed Hadžić or whatever has left and has now ended up at a big club somewhere else. I want to say maybe Bruges or something like that, but I think Malmo as a home underdog might just be the peak valuation for Dinamo Zagreb here. I don't know that I feel great about the total. I don't think Dinamo Zagreb are going to score a lot, but they do have some offense. They've shown it so far. So I'll lean to the home underdog. Two matches left to go. Then we'll smash it together and get you an ultimate best bet and get out of here. Nottingham Forest, a pick 'em at home to Porto. Total is 2.25. Juice all the way to over and very heavily juiced on the Nottingham Forest side. This has been kind of going back and forth between quarter and a pick 'em. I think if you like Porto, wait for the quarter of a goal to come back. If you like Nottingham Forest, play the pick'em. So if they do draw, you do get your money return. I am looking to be against Nottingham Forest for the foreseeable future. I thought they really overplayed last season, are overrated, overvalued by the amount of UK money that's in this market because it helps the pound so valuable. I lean to FCP, but I want a quarter of a goal. It's out there. I'm sure other places, just not at Bet Online. Last but not least, Sports Club Freiburg is like John their kit. Don their kit. They are hosting Utrecht from the Dutch Eredivisie. What I thought was a decent side that really has not performed this competition. I guess they're just a venue for Armin van Buren at this point. Freiburg, one goal favorites, all the juice on the home team, totals 2 3/4, juice fairly heavily to under. Those things they don't really correlate. Freiburg were trying to score goals. They played really well at home over the years. I don't really trust Utrecht at this point to really do anything. Anything I probably lean towards is under, just betting against the Freiburg offense, but they certainly can concede some goals. Noah Otobolu is one of the best goalkeepers I've ever seen defending penalties, but I don't know if that's good enough here, and I'm not sure that's as relevant. So I think for my best bet in the afternoon, before I compare this to the early windows for the ultimate best bet and get out of here, I'll save that and just make sure I plug some other things. So thank you all for coming in, especially Nelson Moe, also in here. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate all the new subscribers and anyone that's coming around. It's been really great. And, someday we'll be famous, but we got a long way to go. For the, I guess, other podcasts, so NFL podcast we recorded last night, Andrew Korshnicker and I covering the NFL Week 8. Don't want to discuss best bet records there, but if you just literally turn on the episode for the first few seconds, you'll get the lowdown, and hopefully stick around after that. There will be an NFL podcast next week, of course, because there's one every week. But there is also a soccer podcast coming for this weekend that will be coming out likely on Friday, probably Friday evening. I might try to do it Thursday night. That might be good tomorrow night to get ready for everything. But it's time for the ultimate best bet. If you're not a member of my Patreon, patreon.com/thereal_G-Warner. Best way to get all my plays, all the overnights, everything as soon as they're locked in. You get a buzz if you download the application, get notifications on your phone or whatever device you use. Maybe people don't use phones anymore. I don't know. But make sure you jump in there and come on in. Appreciate that. And so let's get into it. And I'll of course put this on on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. This episode, yeah, it's going there. You all already knew that. But we also have 1 minute or so reels and shorts at the real_G-Warner on both those platforms. So the early window selection for the ultimate best bet was Panathinaikos, a 1 goal underdog at Feyenoord. For the late, 3 p.m. Eastern time versus 11:45 Central or 12:45 Eastern, and then 3 p.m. Eastern time versus 2 p.m. Central. We're going to go with Victoria Plzeňa visiting Roma. They're going to try to keep this as low scoring as possible. The push on three is essential. I will not play less than that, most likely, especially now that we've had it. But I think we get a 3.25 before kickoff, maybe even higher than that. Certainly want to make sure that FCVP have a quality lineup in there to defend. But Roma, I mean, their backups can certainly score on a Czechia side, but I just don't really believe we're going to see 4 goals. So play Roma hosting Victoria Plzeňa in the 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Central. Europa League of the match day 3 will go under 3 goals, and that'll be the best bet in this episode. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much. Hit subscribe, leave a 5-star review. Oh, and I need to shout out the YouTube subscriber that has come in because there's a name that I saw in my inbox that I did not mention yet, which I really need to say something to or thank and do all that sort of stuff. Here we go. Now live on your channel. I already knew that. The Dirty Sheets. That's why. I remember it was such a crazy name. The Dirty Sheets have now subscribed to you on YouTube. Thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. And let's get some more of you. The Dirty Sheets is subscribed. Alex Alejandro, Vim Vitens, Cedric Vidal. I appreciate all that and hope to talk to you all very, very soon.